10 years ago. And when I met Cameron, he was living at home with his mum and dad in Narrum South. And Cameron really wanted to get on with his own life. His brother and sister had left home, and Cameron was really keen to get a job and to move into his own home like all young people at that age do. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Cameron Skinner.
Thank you, Deb. Hello, my name is Cameron Skinner. 11 years ago, I moved into my home in Warragul. I never thought I'd be living independently in my own home, paying all my bills, doing all my washing and cooking. In December last year, we filmed my story so I could inspire other people to live in their own home. I'd like to share this video with you now. Or 11 years ago, I would never have thought that I'd be living independently and having a job and doing all my cooking and washing and paying all my own bills and that. Come on, Australia. Come on. Come on, John, fire up. I'll pay the bill and then you can just give me half. All right, sounds good.
Tomato paste.
Tomato paste. How you going, Lee?
Oh, g'day, Camo. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
Good to see you, mate. All right, here's cheers, sunshine.
The reason I wanted to move out of home is because I wanted to work and also to earn an income and work and become more independent and I suppose to gain more confidence, and because when I was living in Narrum South I was isolated and there was nothing to do. Yep. And like when I was living in Narrum South I was at a couple of day programs but I didn't really like them. It was very repetitive and very boring.
We knew back in, probably 5 years earlier, that living at home and not working was not a happy scenario for Cameron. He was a really unhappy person.
Well, the reason I wanted to move out of Mum and Dad's place is because like I was isolated in Narrum South. There's not much in Narrum South, no businesses or anything, and I wanted to move out of my parents' place to hope to look for work and hopefully get work and to share with a housemate.
I'm in the local fire brigade here. One of the guys in the brigade that I was with knew Cam and Monty pretty well through his work at the Shire, and he sort of introduced us and the idea of us living together.
The arrangement that Cam and I had was very good. We were already friends when we first started, but some of the other people that have been Cam's housemates, he still has contact with now. He's very good friends with. He socialises, drops around, sees their kids. They all, so it's a great arrangement. It's a great way of meeting someone that you may not possibly have contact with in your general life.
Yes, I do still stay in contact with my housemates. Fiona that lived with me, her son now, Liam, is now 5. She lives in Warragul up near St Paul's. I go around there sometimes to visit and have coffees with Fiona and her partner Steve's there. And I sometimes stay there for tea Like they invite me for tea, we have a barbecue or maybe fish and chips if it's a Friday night or whatever. Or
I think probably the main reason why we wanted Cameron to have a housemate who did not have a disability was the fact that it would be who would be supporting who is one reason. We wanted it to be Cameron's house and for him to be able to learn from a housemate in some of those skill areas that he perhaps needed some polishing up on.
The time that Cam moved into his own home was the result of a lot of planning.
So I travelled up to Warragul, and I can remember sitting around the kitchen table with Maggie and Greg and Cameron, and trying to really elicit what Cameron wanted to do with his life.
We chose an area that we felt was safe and that the neighbours would be supportive.
It's really great to have Cam as part of our street. He's very connected with all of the neighbours, and last week we actually had a working bee. Cameron came down and actually cut all the hedges for a lady that's not very well, and so he's just a really good community street player, and we really appreciate him. And there's not a time where you get out of your car and you don't hear, "G'day legend, how you going?" So he's a real happy, jovial person to have in our street.
Where do you think you gained the confidence from?
Probably being able to live in my own house and do my housework and that, and pay rent and maintain the house, and eventually getting work, and also having the circle of support and friends and family.
I actually run the Warragul Farmers Market along with another girl, and we love getting the community involved. And because I know Cam and I know his personality, I've actually asked him to come along and volunteer, and he has been on the welcoming, like at the gate, handing out bags for the market goers. It was wonderful, and we really appreciate Cam for being community minded and helping us out.
Yeah, I would. I've got advice for any young people looking to move into their own home, like get out there and try it and see how you go, and get out there and make it happen, and get out and have a go and make it happen, and just enjoy life, and try to live independently and see how you go.
And I can remember him saying, "I'd really like to live with someone who could give me a hand around the house, who doesn't play loud music, and who goes to the pub." Now that sort of opens up the opportunity of who Cameron could live with to literally thousands of people, rather than thinking it could only be a person with a disability who may not be able to give Cameron the support that he needs because they also have needs.
Come a long way.
I've come a very long way.
How does that make you feel?
Very good. I feel absolutely fantastic. I feel very proud.
So you should.
I do, thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Go back for Richmond?
I like Richmond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all?
And I hope they do well next year.
Right. Well, will they finish higher than Collingwood?
Possibly, yeah. I reckon they might.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'll be a rebuilding process for Collingwood.
Yeah, maybe 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah. Now, is there any questions?
Are you still living with a housemate?
No, I'm living by myself independently, and I love living by myself, and it's awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Cameron.
Great presentation, thanks for that. I'm just curious about where you find your pool of housemates from.
Well, the first housemate we knew, and Mum and I asked her, and then she became my first housemate, and then the second housemate, Brian, we got him because a friend, one of the support workers at a disability program that I used to go to, ADAS, he asked Brian if he'd like to come into ADAS and meet me. So he did, and then we had the interview, and Brian moved in with me. And then I've had other housemates like Fiona. We met her, me and Mum, we had lunch one day with her baby, and she moved in before Brian, or when Brian left. And then also we had Lincoln, and I think one day my dad, Greg, he rang Lincoln to ask him if he'd like to move in with me, so he did, and Lincoln lived with me for 6 months. And then I've had another housemate, Adam, he lived with me for 6 months, but in the end he moved out because we kind of didn't get on in the end, so yeah.
Excuse me, how do you get living by yourself?
I like living by myself. Yeah, I like living by myself because it's good and I can do more things. And
Thank you very
it's
much.
all right. Thank you for that. Could I also ask you to spread the message by sharing my story, which is on YouTube.